Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama. You only have one speed. Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Oh Hare Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Oh Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Here we go.
Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, That was awesome.
Anyone new to coming here and or new to Krishna consciousness? How long have you known about Krishna consciousness?
Well, I don't know what that is.
You don't know what it is? Okay. How did you find out to come here?
Well, I know about Krishna.
Okay.
Right here.
Okay.
Is that okay back there?
So,
I came because I'm looking for some like spiritual friends.
okay. There's an ocean of knowledge and so many things that can be said, should be said, but we have to choose our words carefully.
Yeah.
For many reasons, we have to choose our words carefully, but particular to our time. So I want to preface what we will say, or what we will conduct the reading of the current verse that we're up to in the Bhagavad Gita, but it can never be, it can always be said that we're in a very, very special place. This storefront in this pre-war walk-up, I think it's even a pre-World War I building, very old, was the original temple, the very first temple for the entire International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, who's Murti. Murti is a word for likeness. We don't say statue, because a statue is not inhabiting the personality that image is or sculpture or is depicting. They're not in that statue. And by the laws of nature and by the laws of karma and desire and destiny, when we leave this material body, we go on to the next destination, be it another life or another place. So the idea of having a likeness of a person who reasonably we consider to have done some good for human society, and their memory is a good thing to commemorate so that future generations will understand the greatness of that personality. That's very nice. That's an aspect of personalism. We say the personality of Godhead is a very important part of Krishna conscious philosophy, perhaps the foundation of Krishna conscious philosophy, which sets it apart from other, let's say, spiritual paths. That ultimately the absolute truth in its fullest and complete and original feature is personal. Just like if we look at ourselves, we have our possessions. I have the clothes on my back, I have a car, apartment, a bicycle, or a yacht, whatever, anything, so many things. Our wardrobe. And they're indicative of our personality, our style, our tastes, our budget, how much decisions that we make based on all these parameters. If I was to not know you or someone and I was taken by a friend into their apartment or even office place, waiting, I could get a little idea of what you're like even before meeting you by seeing the type of environment you create for yourself. But those things are just material possessions, material elements. They don't have consciousness to them. But they create a type of atmosphere based on, as I was saying, your personality, your style, your proclivities, etc., etc. So this material world is an emanation, a creation of the original personality of Godhead. So the energies that we see here that create so many diverse, variegated manifestations, in the same way that you are the origin of your possessions, not that you didn't create so there's a truck outside, I own the truck. I didn't create the truck, but because you're in possession of it, and you're driving it, and you're maintaining it, etc. So this material body, we didn't create this material body. It's a gift from Krishna's material nature. We say Mother Nature. Mother Nature, she's feminine. She's a mother. She's the mother goddess Bhumi. She is just like the mother is the immediate protector of the child. God is the seed-giving father. The seed is the living entity. The living entity doesn't come into being at any time. We're eternal. We're unborn, primeval, immortal, undying. And the unawareness, or a stronger word, ignorance of that fact is the root cause of all our problems, both individual and collective. If we were actually to understand our eternal spiritual nature and our constitutional identity in relationship to our source, our origin, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then automatically there'd be no envy, there'd be no hostility, there'd be no racism, there'd be no anything undesirable. Everything would be, because only on the platform of self-realization. Could you move a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Because I can't really see
Sorry.
him. Perfect. Just
I
3
can
inches
move
is
over
good.
too.
3 inches is good.
Just 3 inches.
Thank you very much.
It's better?
To actually achieve self-realization, it necessitates, or it works both ways, that only one with proper motivation means whatever you do, and even more finally, whatever you think, is beneficial for everyone, including yourself simultaneously. So in the material world, tends to be the opposite of that, or falling short of that standard. So, striving for self-realization is the ultimate fulfillment of all your needs and desires. And there's a saying, I think it's a common saying, from spiritual well-being automatically comes material well-being. Or I'll add to that, all necessary categories of material well-being. So we just observed yesterday in India and 2 days ago here by the lunar calculation of the calendar, the appearance day of Ramachandra, Lord Sri Ramachandra, Sita Devi, the goddess of fortune, incarnated with him as his queen, as his wife, and he was helped by the very loyal and dedicated leader of the monkey warriors, Hanuman. So many people know Hanuman. So Ramachandra, he's Krishna, he's Bhagavan, but in the incarnation of Ramachandra, he's showing how to be the perfect human being, and perfect human being as the perfect leader. And in his kingdom, or under the jurisdiction of his government, which actually, this is millions of years ago, he was the ruler of the entire planet. Everything was balanced very nicely. There was no theft, there was no murder, what to speak of any other type of crime, and everyone was perfectly healthy. People had a lifespan of 10,000 years during the reign of Ramachandra, and even you could prolong or put off your death if you wanted to live longer. There was no death even for those who did not want it. So in India, even to date, especially after independence from the Imperial British rule in 1947, creating political parties, many times they'll make a political party called the Ram Raj party. Raj means king, and Ram is the most beloved personality of Godhead. And they try to model, we say we'll have a government that will be like Lord Ramachandra's government. That's very noble, that's a very ambitious thing, but to do that, you have to be willing to follow the instructions of Ramachandra and govern the way that he did. And that, in a quick summary, means that you cannot have any material motivation for your own personal name, fame, gain, profit, adoration, or distinction. So that is the test of a self-realized person, that he doesn't have any desire for those things, but his only desire is to please the personality of Godhead, and because the personality of Godhead is the root, is the source of every living entity. If Krishna is pleased, then everyone will be pleased. Just like if you water the root of the tree, sometimes children in a garden, they'll want to take a little sprinkling can and put water on each leaf. Nice idea, but ultimately it'll make the leaves on the trees unhealthy. So if you put water on the individual leaves and you neglect to put water on the root, then you'll have a problem. So welfare activities, which are noble, nobody should be hungry, nobody should be lonely, there shouldn't be all of these terrible diseases that cause people suffering and cut their lifespan short. Nobody should be mentally disturbed. Certainly not. But actually the root cause of all of those things, and so many things that are problems that I didn't mention, it comes from the forgetfulness and ignorance of your original spiritual identity, which is full of transcendental bliss, happiness, variegated happiness that you can't compare it to any material happiness in this material world. No matter how great, no matter how much money it costs, fame, intelligence, huge amount of money, great bodily strength. And even you acquire these things to a very high degree, they're temporary. What's more valuable, the possession or the possessor? You can say, you can't take it with you. But the sukriti that you acquire from spiritual acts, pious acts, pure devotional acts, that is your real bank account, that is your real wealth. And that takes you out of this world of repeated birth, death, disease, and old age, and ultimately places you in the spiritual world where there is no death, there is no old age, there's no disease. There's one definition of the spiritual world, it's a very interesting definition, it's called Vaikuntha. Kunta means anxiety, and Vai means without. One time Srila Prabhupada was asked by a kind of challenging person, what's it like to be you? Like I'm talking, say, what's it like to be you? And I say, okay, put me on the spot. Or if I did the same thing, it's not a very nice. So Prabhupada, he had such elevated power because of his confidential relationship with the personality of God. He simply said these words. And those words were so pregnant with meaning that everybody in the room, and even the ribald challenging, upstart, they were like shocked, practically speaking. He said, I have no fear. And just like a rising tide in the harbor raises all boats automatically, so the association of the Maha Bhagavat, Maha means great, and Bhagavat means self-realized soul. Among self-realized souls, there is the Maha Bhagavat who's on the superlative level. He can lift other people up, even they don't have qualification. of their own to see that level. But, you know, like a child, you know, Daddy, what's this? He's like only like 3, 4 years old. He has to grow up and become like 6'2" tall, so you can see that high. But if the father lifts him up, oh, now I can see. But the child has to be put back down, and he has to grow up and become an adult. And he has to earn that status to see on that level. So the pure devotee lifts everyone up, so everyone can understand what it's like to be fearless, to be without any anxiety, at least for that moment. So let that be the introduction, and now I'm going to transfer my legs, which kind of fell asleep a little bit, and sit in this chair. Turn it so this no. Elevated. We can elevate the whole tip.
If anyone wants to follow along with the Bhagavad Gita, Mara will pass you one. Just raise your hand and let us know. We're on chapter 9, text 11, if you want to follow along. And if you have a phone and you don't have a book or don't want a book, betabase.io has a link. I'll say it again for you. Betabase, BEDABASE.io. There's a link to the Bhagavad Gita, to chapter 9, to text 11.
Is everyone a little bit familiar with the Bhagavad Gita? Okay. The literal meaning of Bhagavad Gita, like here in English we say, "Oh God." So the name for God in general in India is Bhagavan. It's a Sanskrit word. It actually has a very profound meaning. Sometimes people in their foolishness or improperly placed ambition will declare themselves, "I'm God, you're God, I'm God, we're all God." Again, I can't see this gentleman. Hare Krishna. What's your name?
My name?
Yeah.
Zeki.
Zach?
Zeki.
Zeki with a Z? With an E?
Yeah.
Zeki. Okay, my Rama Roy. That's my name.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. That mistake is likened unto, like in chemistry class, you take a drop of water out of the ocean and put it under the microscope. And you say, this drop of water is equal to the whole ocean. Because it's true in one sense, qualitatively, the same salt compounds, chemicals in that drop of water that are in the entire ocean. But qualitatively, it's ridiculous to even think that it's equal. So God, Bhagavan, means the possessor of 6 primary opulences in unlimited degree: strength, knowledge or intelligence, beauty, fame, wealth, and detachment or renunciation. Prabhupada would say, you can say you have some money, like back in the Gilded Age, Fifth Avenue on the east side was called Millionaires Row. Now it's been replaced by Central Park South, where like the tallest residential building in the world is, for example, Central Park Tower and its neighbor over on 6th Avenue, near 6th Avenue, the Steinway Tower. And a regular apartment costs $50 or $60 million. And if you want the top one, I think it's something like 150, 160, 360 degree all the way around. Billionaires Row. Okay. But Krishna owns all the money. It's described, if you truly want peace, you want to become fearless, and you want to be completely free from anxiety, you have to know three things very well about Krishna, about God. He is the owner and controller of everything. So they build all these big buildings and, et cetera, et cetera. Real estate, this is my land, this is my property. But who's the ultimate owner? Who's the ultimate controller? Not the property, the person who owns the deed, but the supreme creator of that land. The owner and controller, and he is the Suridam. He's the best well-wishing friend to every living entity. He's expanded in the heart as super soul, Paramatma. There's three understandings of Krishna in progression. Brahman, which most people, if they're at all attempting to understand God, they'll usually, stop short at saying that God is all pervasive, he's everywhere. There's actually a name that we say in the invocation, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vas means place, Deva. He's the Lord of every place. He's everywhere. You can't go any place where there is not God. Bhaktaram Yagna, owner, controller.
Enjoyer.
Huh?
Enjoyer.
Yes, the supreme enjoyer. Whatever enjoyment or pleasure there is that we see in this world or any other world, the source of that enjoyment is from Krishna. Now, the key to clarification of our conception of life and this world and our role in it is helped by this understanding that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and by taking part on the level that Krishna is at with his enjoyment, then our enjoyment is described as Paramananda, supreme enjoyment. Just like the folks living on Billionaires Row, their enjoyment is different than somebody living, in a not so fortunate neighborhood. How about we say like that, right? They're not gonna go get some cheap rot gut whiskey and drink it out of a paper bag and stay on a street corner and whatever, they have better things to do. So Krishna, he is completely detached from any type of material enjoyment in this world. His pleasure and happiness is by far superior. And because we're part and parcel of Krishna, linked to him via his internal pleasure-giving potency, who ultimately is the supreme feminine counterpart whole of Krishna, the internal goddess of fortune, who has many multi-manifestations as Krishna has in manifestations, incarnations. Her highest manifestation is depicted here, also that painting there, which was one of the first paintings done by, under Prabhupada's instruction, Jadharani Devi Dasi. Her name was Judy at the time, 19 years old in 1966, and she was an art student and Prabhupada instructed her to paint. If you look at her paintings to date, or even what she did just a few years after that, she's a master, incredible painter. Srimati Radharani, the supreme counterpart whole of the original personality of Godhead. So that is the actual inner definition or meaning and ultimately greatest confidential understanding of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And as we were chanting Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha, Giri Varadari, Yashoda Nandana, Bhaja Jana Ranjana, Jamuna Tira, Vanachari. This is a complete picture of the entire spiritual world in the highest feature. Goloka Vrindavan. Where is that? Do we still have that painting on the wall or has it been retired? Not here anymore. Okay. Actually, it's on the cover of the... Do we have a Bhagavatam in the house with the original cover on it? The Goloka Vrindavan. Is there one back here? Anyway. Look it up on... Somebody look it up on their phone and share it, show it around. And in this age of Kali, it's just like this is now the spring season beginning. Began on the lunar, the actual spring actually arrived on the 20th of March this year. So 8 days into it. We hope that the weather cooperates with the season more. But I think we'll win the fight and spring will come. And you just, yeah.
So,
Well, people aren't going to be able to see it, but
well,
anyway.
I'm not passing around my phone.
Okay. Goloka Vrindavan is the source of all the other spiritual planets and the material world. Mahavishnu expands all of the different universes. Counts as just 10 or sometimes even as much as 1/4 of the entire cosmic manifestation by ratio. So the liberated spiritual world and personalities experiencing Paramananda in association with the personality of Godhead are by far more numerous than the doleful denizens of Martyaloka, the worlds of repeated birth and death. Actually, we were just reading in the last chapter, from the highest down to the lowest, from the highest heavenly planet down to the lowest hellish planet, all are places of misery where repeated birth and death take place. Yet there is another nature which has nothing to do with this temporary material creation, maintenance, and annihilation. That is my spiritual abode. And one who performs bhakti yoga, which is the way to please Krishna, bhakti mama bijanati avanyas chasmi tattvataha, only by devotional service. Devotional service is under the supreme direction and authority of Krishna's internal pleasure-giving potency, who is the source of devotion. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhana. You are the source of creation and the source of devotion. She's the source of the disciplic succession of spiritual masters, those who are actually qualified to accept disciples. Accepting disciples means you take those disciples out of this world of repeated birth, death, disease, and old age and deliver them to the lotus feet of Krishna. Vacho Vegam, what is the qualification for such a spiritual master? He was tolerate the urge to speak, the actions of the tongue, belly, reproductive organs, controlling the 6 urges that promote in the material world. One who doesn't control his mind and senses will be under the influence of lust, greed, anger, envy, madness, illusion, and intoxication. So when it was conquered over all of that, he's fit to make disciples all over the world. Wherever you go in the world, everyone has the same problems or the same given. You have a material body, mind, senses. Everyone, if you go to the hospital, emergency, are they going to ask you what your religion is or what your ethnicity is? Or maybe for fine-tuning, because different medical, different ethnicities might, whatever. But the main thing, heart, lung, kidneys, it's all the same. And actually the doctors or people who are going to treat you, they'll get in trouble if they make a distinction. They're not allowed to do that. Equal vision. Samadarshina. So, Krishna, he is very concerned for us in this material world where we're not meant to be. Does anybody like old age, disease, and death? Raise their hand. Who doesn't like those things? Raise their hand. Why we don't like it? It has nothing to do with us. It's foreign. Just like if we get sick, I get a terrible flu, cold, stomach, you know. We don't like that. Suffering. So just like a father, and also Radharani, mother, if the child gets lost or kidnapped, or run away from home, how much anxiety will the parents be in? So much anxiety. So Krishna, he's Atma Rama, he's not in anxiety, but at the same time he is. All contradictions are resolved on the platform of devotion to Krishna. So, you know, the town, the village, or the state, or Good Samaritan, we're going to go find your son and daughter. Don't worry. And they go and find them, and they rescue them. They're all right. And that beloved mother and child reunion, the reunion of the child with the mother and the father, the rescuer, he doesn't want money, he doesn't want to get rid up in the newspaper. That's his satisfaction, that he did the right thing. And he's just so happy to facilitate that. You see, like, kids who were kidnapped or whatever, and then, you know, the police officer, the sheriff, whoever who found them, they are lifelong friends. You saved my life. Thank you so much. So the best activity in this world, Krishna says, one who teaches this knowledge of self-realization, which is primarily presented, everything you need to know in one book. There's so many books you can read. This is 700 verses. There's a postgraduate study book called the Amala Purana, Bhagavad Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, 18,000 verses. There's other Puranas that have like double, triple the amount. One who distributes this knowledge is power. Knowledge gives you freedom of choice. Like when they want to suppress a certain group of people, they refuse to allow them for education. Can't keep them illiterate. Don't read and write. Don't study. So this is one of the first things that is set up when people are liberated from such injustice and insanity. It's education. So Krishna says, one who does so is the most dear to me, and there'll never be one more dear. So Krishna has come in this age as the supreme teacher of his own devotional service. It's like amazing. You know, the teacher accepts the role of a student to show the other students how to be a perfect student. That is a very great teacher. He can teach preschool, he can teach first grade, 12th grade, he can teach, you know, college mathematics, he can teach on the PhD degree. Just that he's teaching, the quality of the teaching, that, oh, why am I teaching first graders? I know so much more than this. One of the first helpers of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada was a musician and seeker who was named Michael Grant. He was 24 years old in 1966. He actually helped Prabhupada get this storefront, found the landlord, made the deal, you know, brokered the relationship, everything. Anyway, he's been a long-standing member of ISKCON. He's now Mukunda Goswami. And he was one of the first persons that Prabhupada gave instruction on how to play the mridanga, play the drum. You see, the drum is two different heads. It's a very intricate, actually, it's a very sacred instrument and requires a lot of training to actually play it in the way that it should be played, in many diversified, variegated ways in accord with the mood and necessity of the mantra chanting. So this is the very, and His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada had been trained up since practically infancy by his devotee father how to play the drums. So he's like a master player of this instrument for 70 years, and he's showing someone for the first time, and he noticed, like, I'm just learning basic beats, and he was like just relishing with his eyes closed in ecstasy and said, this is a great teacher. That he's just happy to impart the knowledge on whatever level. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is distributing, he's Radha and Krishna combined, but he's distributing the process for transcendental love for the Supreme Divine Couple in Goloka Vrindavan via the distribution of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. A very great devotee of Lord Chaitanya who appeared in the year that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed the planet. This is another aspect. We're separated by time and space. I'm born in a certain date. My lifespan will be such and such. You're born after me. Maybe we meet for a little bit. But how about the previous generations? We never met them. Or those who will come after us. So we stay together and communicate through time and space through the transcendental process of devotional service. And this Narottam Das Thakur, he was meant to be the upholder and guardian of the purity of the process of Bhakti Yoga after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates departed the planet. And he fully demonstrated how through feelings of intense separation from the beloved, people, their husband, their wife, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, their mother, their father, their son, their daughter, they pass away, and the grief is heart-rending. This can be alleviated by understanding the transcendental position of every living entity. That was one of the important basis for the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna refused to fight the war because many people on the opposing side were his friends, contemporaries, relatives. But it came, anyway, suffice to say, it came down to all negotiations. Everything was exhausted. There was nothing left. It just had to come to this. Krishna solaced Arjuna in his hesitancy, in his fearfulness, and his anxiety that no one dies. They live forever. And what to speak if one is a devotee of Krishna? Their destination, they've already gone back home, back to God. We will meet them at the destination. There is no doubt about it. That understanding, that confidence helps you to overcome the grief of that separation. But such a personality, because they're a devotee, their one-on-one association is the most valuable thing in this world. There's nothing more valuable than association with pure devotees. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked his confidential devotee, Ramananda Roy, of all types of unhappiness in this world, what is the greatest unhappiness? And the answer, very simple, separation from the pure devotee. So by keeping up the standard of spiritual activity, sadhana means practice. Sadhana and siddha. Sadhana leads to, what is siddha? Perfection. Practice makes perfect. It's described that transcendental feelings of separation in relationship to a devotee are indeed painful, but that simultaneously they have a unique quality that they pacify the heart and endow you with deeper and deeper transcendental knowledge and insight. Devotees can read, okay, I read the Bhagavad Gita. All right, next. You can read it again and again and again and again, and you'll always get new and fresh meanings from it. In the same exact way that we chant Hare Krishna and we never get tired. Actually, the ultimate vanguard of the most glorious standard, which is done in two places, one especially in our ISKCON world, Sri Vrindavan, the original appearance place of Lord Krishna. Vrindavan is in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, about 90 kilometers southeast of New Delhi, north central India, is to maintain 24 hours a day chanting of Hare Krishna, kirtan. And that's done by dividing 24 hours into 8 3-hour periods, 1 to 4 in the morning, 4 to 7 in the morning, 7 to 10, 10 to 1 in the afternoon, 1 to 4 afternoon, 7 to 10, 10 to 1 in the, like that. And teams or groups of devotees will take responsibility for each of those 3-hour periods. So it's like handing the baton in the decathlon. I ran this amount of miles, now I give it to you. Keep that flame upright and run that thing all around the world. So Narottam Das Thakur, he said, in feeling separation from Lord Chaitanya and his associates, Hari Hari Bifale Janama Goino, I have not worshipped. The devotee has great humility. I'm separated from my beloved. My lamentation is so great. But he said in that same prayer or song, Golokera Premadana Harinam Sankirtan, the treasure of divine love. We all say, what is the most important thing in this world? What is the most important thing? Love. They write all kinds of songs, one kind of 60s, so I don't know who. Without love in the dream, it'll never come true. Somebody wrote that, I don't know, song. Anyway. But the topmost love, that gives you everything. Golokera Premadan Harinam Sankirtan. The treasure of divine love from Goloka Vrindavan is descended into this world via the chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we encourage everyone to develop, maintain, and expand and increase your relationship with Krishna via the holy name. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he spent most of his time in administering to the public via the Sankirtan process of chanting Hare Krishna. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the source of all knowledge. He left the task of delineating Krishna conscious knowledge and philosophy for the people of this age to his immediate disciples and their subsequent followers. But he only left 8 verses of instruction. And in one of those verses he said, verse 1, Vidya Vadu Jivanam. This chanting of Hare Krishna is the source of all knowledge, and it is the life and soul of all knowledge. One great biographer of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who lived in the 1500s, said, of all that is to be taught and all that is to be learned, the culmination of all knowledge is in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. If you chant Hare Krishna, you will automatically be qualified to understand all the intricate conclusions of the Vedic literatures. If you do Vrindavan Pikram and you come around the bend in Keshigat, those of you who've been there, they have a school. And many schools will have this name on it. It goes, Maha Vidyalal, Maha Prem Vidyalal, which means the great love of knowledge. I know I could admit myself, I didn't really like school, high school. I found it kind of didn't really apply to what I was desiring or thinking about. It's external knowledge, temporary knowledge, knowledge of how to enjoy with the senses in this material world. Does not touch the heart, does not elevate the soul, does not purify the consciousness, mundane knowledge. Knowledge of the personality of Godhead, this is in the second canto, automatically suspends the waves and whirlpools of the modes of material nature. Who could fail to be attracted? So now, after saying who could fail to be attracted, we're going to hear about the class of people who failed to be attracted from Krishna's own mouth. And I guess I gave you two introductions. A preamble, now an introduction, and now we got the main course. Bhagavad Gita, the chapter in the most confidential knowledge. It's called the most confidential knowledge. This is Bhagavad Gita means Bhagavan's. Krishna is speaking about himself. If I want to know you, should I go ask somebody on the other side of the room? Well, he's wearing this is Anupam here. He's wearing a white shirt. He looks like a pretty handsome guy. He's tall. He's got a blue bracelet there with some gold in it. And that's a nice water. That looks like a pretty attractive. Okay, all right. So he's a tall guy. He's a handsome guy. He's got a bracelet there. Okay. Well, would it be better if I go try to hey, what's your name and where are you from and what are you into and what are you doing and let him say from his own mouth. I think that would be better, right? Less chance of speculation. So Krishna is speaking about himself, and it's described of the 18 chapters. The first 6 are preliminary, and the middle 6, chapters 7 through 12, are carefully guarded, like in between, and the final 6 chapters are kind of like re-emphasizing or giving a little bit more. But the middle 6 chapters are considered the most confidential, and of those middle 6 chapters, 7 through 12, 9 is the most confidential. So I'll read the verse myself. We've gone a long time with everything. So Avajananti mamuda manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam ajanato mama bhuta maheshvaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. Purport. From the other explanations of the previous verses in this chapter, it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing like a human being, is not a common man. If Krishna Manushya Janma is the source of all human birth, why can he not have a human form if he likes to accept a human form? But it's not a human being under the laws of nature that experiences birth, growth, maturation, giving off byproducts, dwindling and vanishing. Krishna never gets old, and he never dies. He'll bring his form to this world, but as the Supreme Yogeshvar, he will make it disappear. He will disappear from this world in a miraculous way, defying the laws of nature, or not being implicated or under the control of the laws of nature, because his very self is the controller of that nature. If you can control something, how could you be under the control of the thing that you can control? It doesn't make any sense. The personality of Godhead, here, who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the complete cosmic manifestation, cannot be a human being. So as I was saying, people say, I'm God, you're God. Well, are you Bhagavan? Are you the source of all opulences? Do you know what I'm thinking? Do you know what every living entity is thinking? Do you know everyone's past, present, and future? Do you know who everyone was in their past life? That is God. This is nonsense that you're talking. It's complete insanity. And that anyone would think that they could pass that off, they're simply a fool. Or that because I'm God, you're God, whatever I desire to do, then that's godly. So I can have all types of illicit activities, I can do all types of things for my own sensual gratification because I'm God. That's where this nonsense philosophy heads to rationalize and substantiate and to make yourself feel good. There ain't nothing wrong. Just keep doing it. It's all right. We're all just one big ship of fools boarding a stone boat together. Don't step out of line. Yet there are many foolish men who consider Krishna to be merely a powerful man and nothing more. Actually, he is the original Supreme Personality as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Ishvar Parama Krishna, the one Supreme Controller, Krishna. Satchid is spiritual body, Satchid Ananda Vigraha, is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. Anadir Adir Govina, Sarva Karna Karna, he is the cause of all causes. There are many Ishvars, controllers, and one appears greater than another. In the ordinary management of affairs in the material world, we find some official or director, and above him there is a secretary, and above him is a minister, and above him is a president. Each of them is a controller, but one is controlled by another. In the Brahma Samhita it is said that Krishna is the supreme controller. There are many controllers undoubtedly, both in the material and spiritual world, but Krishna is the supreme controller, Ishvara Parama Krishna, and his body is Sat Chid Ananda, transcendental. Sat means eternal, Chid means knowledge, and Ananda means real spiritual pleasure. Material bodies cannot perform the wonderful acts described in previous verses. On 51st Street, between 50th and 51st Street on 5th Avenue, across from St. Patrick's Cathedral, is the Atlas. And he's been standing there, I don't know when they installed that statue, but he's been holding that poor heavy thing for decades. And Prabhupada said we shouldn't entertain the idea that Krishna, making all the planets float in their orbit, is also like Atlas holding this incredible weight, and he's straining under the weight. No, effortlessly. Material bodies cannot perform the wonderful acts described. His body is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Although he is not a common man, the fools deride him and consider him to be a man. His body is called here Manusham because he is acting like a man, a friend of Arjuna's, a politician involved in the battle of Kurukshetra. In so many ways, he is acting just like an ordinary man. But actually, his body is Satchidananda Vigraha, eternal bliss and knowledge absolute. This is confirmed in the Vedic language also. Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is the eternal blissful form of knowledge. Gopal Tapani Upanishad. There are many other descriptions in the Vedic language also. Tamikam Govindam. You are Govinda, the pleasure of the senses and the cows. Satchidananda Vigraham. And your form is transcendental, full of knowledge, bliss, and eternality. Gopal Tapani Upanishad. Despite the transcendental qualities of Krishna's body, its full bliss and knowledge, there are many so-called scholars and commentators of Bhagavad Gita who deride Krishna as an ordinary man. The scholar may be born as an extraordinary man due to his previous good work. That one can have good intelligence, aristocratic placement in society, bodily beauty, lots of money. That is because one performed pious activities in the past. Just like I went to work, I made a lot of money. Now, what are you going to do with the money? Are you going to spend it wisely, safeguard it, or are you going to squander it? Invariably, people with these things, they become proud. They start lording it over other people. There was a very nice movement some 15 years ago. It actually inspired me to begin Harinam in New York City. Occupy Wall Street. And their mantra or motto was, 1% control 99% of all the resources. There's the Upanishad, it says that Ishavashyami dam sarvam yat kincha jagadam jagat. Tena taktena bunjada ma gradas kashasvidanam. One should know who is the owner and controller of everything and only accept one's allotted quota that was designated for you and not encroach upon others' allotment. So I'll get rich at the exploitation of others. He may be born as an extraordinary man due to his previous good work, but this conception of Sri Krishna is due to a poor fund of knowledge. There was one president of Calcutta University. This is during the time of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. This is in the 1920s, 1930s. And he wanted to come ask His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, some intricate questions about Sanskrit in the Vedas. And he said, yes, but first I want you to go and help my disciples polish the brass utensils in the deity room. Scrubbing, like like all this cleansing and this and that. It's heavy work. Yeah. And the man was humble and he did that for like 2 hours. And then Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, all right, you can come with your questions. He said, I have no questions. They were all answered while I was scrubbing the brass. So by devotional service, not by mundane scholarship. Srila Prabhupada was in Geneva, Switzerland in 1974, and there was a professor, Hubert, if I got his name right, and he was kind of like heralded, especially by the young people, as kind of like a mystical kind of professor. And, he had been to India, and he was like, kind of a hip person, although he was older back in that time. And he had spent 20 years writing a book, which was soon to be published, called The Myth of the Childhood of Krishna. And he was shown to Prabhupada by his disciple, Guru Gauranga, and he read like a few, okay, that's enough, because he was going to meet him the next day. And he came in and he was humble. He took a bow and he sat cross-legged on the floor and he was saying, I have written this book. I spent 20 years doing it. And Prabhupada was kind to him, but simply said, yes, but still there are so many mistakes. And then the man was humble and Prabhupada explained to him the actual situation. But most people are not like that. I remember actually up in the Vedana, he's going to Brown University, and one of his college assignments was to read the Gita Govinda, which is a highly esoteric text about the conjugal association of Krishna and Radharani and their immediate associates, the gopis, transcendental cowherd girls. And it is very easy, if not guaranteed, that those without spiritual qualification through sufficient practice of spiritual regulation are going to think this is just like the mundane affairs of young boys and girls in their mundane attraction. But they pass this off as like scholarship to read these things and understand these things to college students who are like partying and carousing, and it's just like such things are reserved only for those on the highest level. Actually, Prabhupada was asked by one of these professors, how is it that a brahmachari can read the Gita Govinda or similar literatures, which are all about these esoteric conjugal affairs? And Prabhupada's few-word response was just like, only a brahmachari can understand. Or only someone who is above mundane attraction can understand the attraction on the spiritual level between Krishna and his eternal associates. And the Adi Ras, all romance, parental affection, friendship on all levels, this all emanates from Krishna. He's the source of these relationships in original, complete purity. And those relationships are thoroughly praiseworthy and desirable for everyone. And that is the ultimate satisfaction of the need for everyone for relationship. The foolish consider Krishna an ordinary human being because they do not know the confidential activities of the Supreme Lord and his different energies. They do not know that Krishna's body is a symbol of complete knowledge and bliss, and that he's the proprietor of everything that be, and that he can award liberation to anyone. Because they do not know that Krishna has so many transcendental qualifications, they deride him. Nor do they know the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this material world is a manifestation of his internal energy. He is the master of the material energy, as has been expanded in several places. He claims that the material energy, although very powerful, is under his control, and whoever surrenders unto him can get out of the control of this material energy. If a soul surrendered to Krishna can get out of the influence of material energy, then how can the Supreme Lord, who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the whole cosmic nature, have a material body like us? So this conception of Krishna is complete foolishness. Foolish persons, however, cannot conceive that the personality of Godhead Krishna, appearing just like an ordinary man, can be the controller of all the atoms of the gigantic manifestation of the universal form. The biggest and minutest are beyond their conception, so they cannot imagine that a form like that of a human being can simultaneously control the infinite and the minute. Actually, although he is controlling the infinite and the finite, he is apart from all this manifestation. It is clearly stated concerning his yogam aishvaryam, his inconceivable transcendental energy, that he can control the infinite and the finite simultaneously, and that he can remain aloof from them. Although the foolish cannot imagine how Krishna, who appears just like a human being, can control the finite and the finite, those who are pure devotees accept this, for they know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, they completely surrender unto him and engage in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord. There are many controversies between the impersonalists and the personalists about the Lord's appearance as a human being. But if we consult Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, the authoritative text for understanding the science of Krishna, then we can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not an ordinary man, although he appeared on this earth as an ordinary human being. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, when the sages headed by Shonaka inquire about the activities of Krishna, they said, Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being, and so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. The Lord's appearance as a man bewilders the foolish. No human being could perform the wonderful acts that Krishna performed while he was present on this earth. When Krishna appeared before his father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki, he appeared with 4 hands, but after the prayers of the parents, he transformed himself into an ordinary child. As stated in Bhagavatam 10.3-46, he came just like an ordinary child, an ordinary human being. Now here again it is indicated that the Lord's appearance as an ordinary human being is one of the features of his transcendental body. In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also it is stated that Arjuna prayed to see Krishna's form of 4 hands. After revealing this form, Krishna, when petitioned by Arjuna, again assumed his original human-like form, Manushyam Rupam. These different features of the Supreme Lord are certainly not those of an ordinary human being. Some of those who deride Krishna and who were infected with the Mayavad philosophy means the philosophy of impersonalism and voidism, which has many aspects to it, but the basic definition of such philosophy is atheism. They quote the following verse from Bhagavatam 3rd Canto that prove that Krishna is just an ordinary man. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu, quote, the Supreme is present in every living entity. Yes, he's present in every living entity, but that doesn't make the living entity God. We should better take note of this particular verse from the Vaishnavacharyas. So the pure Vaishnava texts, the impersonalists will make commentary. It's just like, say you author a book, and you have your authorized people that you've said, this is my friend, this is my representative, my public relations person, publicist, lawyer, they can speak on my behalf. I authorize them. But if just somebody else, like wants to write some sensational news story for some type of scandal rag, that's unauthorized. And that person could be held accountable for libel, slander. So they have no right, the non-devotees, to give commentary on Krishna's book. Criminal activity, as just defined. Infected with the Mayavad philosophy, the Supreme is present in every living entity. We should better take note of this particular verse from the Vaishnavacharyas, the authorized publicist, lawyer, etc., like Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, instead of following the interpretations of unauthorized persons who deride Krishna. Jiva Goswami, commenting on this verse, says that Krishna, in his plenary expansion as Paramatma, is situated in the moving and non-moving entities as the Supersoul, so any neophyte devotee who simply gives his attention to the Archamurti, the form of the Supreme Lord in the temple, the deity, and does not respect other living entities, is uselessly worshiping the form of the Lord in the temple. So if we get too much caught up in the rituals and the externals and the formalities and forget the essence, then we're considered to be a neophyte. And unless we improve our situation, the likelihood of making some type of offense or out of pride and ignorance is highly likely, and that's something that we want to avoid at all costs. There are three kinds of devotees of the Lord, and the neophyte is in the lowest stage. The neophyte gives more attention to the deity in the temple than to other devotees. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur warns that this sort of mentality should be corrected. A devotee should see that because Krishna is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma, everybody is the embodiment or the temple of the Supreme Lord. So as one offers respects to the temple of the Lord, he should similarly properly respect each and every body in which the Paramatma dwells. And this wonderful statement to conclude the paragraph. Everyone should therefore be given proper respect and should not be neglected. So again, by watering the root of the tree, all the leaves and branches are nourished. So if you please Krishna, everyone will be pleased. I take care of my family members, my clan, my race. These are my people. These are my blood. But what about everybody else? The devotee, he is dutiful to his family and to his where he comes from, but he expands the field of activities to make everyone his family and to make every place his home. Prabhupada came here, he was living uptown on the Upper West Side, and then young people, actually one young person at the time, Harvey Cohn, he saw Prabhupada uptown, and he invited him downtown. You have a much better following of young people down here than up there. And he gave Prabhupada entrance to his Bowery loft. It was a 4-story building, like a pre-war walk-up building, no elevator. And it was formerly like a factory. The whole floor was open and industrial work of some kind. And they made, at that time, because of the Bowery, how are you going to, it's like, and even here in the East Village, AIR, Artist in Resident Loft. Artists, musicians who needed a big space for their music, for their art, canvases. You can rent the whole floor just for yourself, cheap. I think back then it would be like $100 to $200. You have a whole floor, month's rent. Amazing. But it's on the Bowery. So his friends uptown said, the Bowery? You don't know what Bowery was, the Skid Row in New York back then, very dangerous place. And Prabhupada said, I had no conception. I felt everywhere is my home. Because he always feels the Lord's protection. I have no fear. If you become conscious of me, I will give you all protection, Krishna says in another place in the Bhagavad Gita. So everyone should therefore be given proper respect and should not be neglected. There are also many impersonalists who deride temple worship. They say that since God is everywhere, why should one himself worship in the temple? But if God is everywhere, is he not also in the temple or in the deity? Just like here, we're in this room and we all chose to be here, and it's like we could just go sit outside on the sidewalk. No, but this is a protected space where we're doing what we want to do. And we can focus better. That is the temple. The temple is like, here's a mundane example. Say you're in a foreign country and, it's a very tense political situation, you're in danger. Go to the embassy of your country, and they're duty-bound to give protection to you as a citizen of that country. So it is even respected by that country that you're in, that this is non-different than the country, the embassy. So the temple is an embassy of the spiritual world. The laws of nature, as they act outside the temple, have no jurisdiction. So it's a safe house, safe place, an oasis in the desert. So that they decry. Although the personalist and the impersonalist will fight with one another perpetually, there's two classes of people, not equal in this day that we're living in. People who want to go up and get out, and people who want to come in and stay here and roll the dice as far as possible to see whatever they can get out of this world. So those two groups are always going to be at friction with each other. That's just the nature of the thing. Folly to be wise where ignorance is bliss. Hardly one man in 1,000 realizes this. Okay, we're finishing up. They will always fight with one another perpetually. A perfect devotee of Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is the Supreme Personality, is all-pervading, as confirmed in Brahma Samhita, although his personal abode is Goloka Vrindavan, and he is always staying there by his different manifestations of energy and by his plenary expansion, he is present everywhere in all parts of the material and spiritual creation. So we transcend all time and space through the process of sadhana bhakti, and the chanting of Hare Krishna. There's no hard and fast rules. Radha and Krishna are there with you, anywhere and everywhere. No hard and fast rules. On the subway, even in the bathroom, of course in the temple. You're alone, you don't have an association of other like-minded persons. Krishna's with you. And the more you practice associating with your dearmost friend, well-wisher, love of your life, you will become very strong. Your heart will be in a very elevated position. And no matter what type of falling short you come up against with anyone or everyone in this material world, you'll never be discouraged. Any questions or comments on anything that we heard today? Yes.
Well, philosophically, logically, what your points you're making, someone who's thoughtful.
Yeah, we have to speak a bit
Someone
louder.
who's thoughtful and logical, I think, should be able to gather from what you're saying that the Supreme Lord should exist and that he's personal in nature. So I think these points that Srila Prabhupada makes and that you elaborate upon, it shows that.
Yeah.
So then, well, why should we? That said, who says it's Krishna?
The version of all liberated souls since time immemorial. The conclusion of all saintly personalities, spiritual masters throughout the Vedic literatures.
But why should we? Why logically? Why logically should we accept what all these persons say?
You have a better explanation? Ultimately, that's the nature of this verse, the meaning of this verse. I reserve the right of not being exposed to anyone and everyone. Fools deride me when I descend in human form. I have an original painting. Let's see. Is it in this book? It's called, I have it in my room. It's called Krishna and the Mental Speculators. Let's see if it's here. No. They have two. That Krishna is in Goloka Vrindavan, a beautiful, youthful cowherd boy, most exquisitely beautiful, bluish form, Sham Sundar. One time, Prabhupada's disciple Shama Sundar, asked Prabhupada, "Have you seen Krishna? What does he look like?" And Prabhupada just thought, and he said, "You have seen this Cetlene torch? You know, this like incredible iridescent blue? So unless you practice devotional service, you can't have, Krishna will not reveal himself to you. So the point of using a logical example, and I'm repeating, these are not my own come to mind. I've heard these as standard examples. Logic is necessary or useful to help people without realization. Well, I can't, forensics, logic. Actually, in India, hundreds of years ago, there would be like philosophical debate. And like even, what's that debate in college? Forensics, right?
Oh, like the Socratic method. Oh.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, whatever the subject matter, but there'd be a panel of judges to see who won the argument. There's standard rules and regulations. But in India, they're accepting the revealed scriptures. When Krishna said, for the doubting soul, there's happiness neither in this life or in the next. That's why I say, what's your explanation? You have something superior? Or why don't you accept, at least for the time being, the version of the Acharyas and all the revealed scriptures that have been revered and respected by countless millions and billions of people who have achieved very high standard. Just like in 1977, anybody ever hear of this deprogramming maniac called Ted Patrick? The deprogrammers. This was like in the when Hare Krishna first appeared, people, this is like brainwashing and, and it reached a point where above the age of 18-year-old, they're over 18 years old, and the parents gave some like $25, $30, $40,000 to, a deprogrammer who basically just has a retinue of thugs, and they kidnap their son or daughter over the age of 18, like just tie them up, bring them to some, if they can't fly them, like here in New York City, they drive them out to some shack in eastern Long Island and just for weeks just, force them to eat meat, look at like, sexual pictures or, and just blaspheme as much as possible. And, and the only way you could escape that is to like, yeah, okay, you're right, I go along with it. And even then they wouldn't believe it. Then they would like take you to the airport and then fly you to some place in Nevada or something. They were doing this. This is kidnapping. And so there was a court case here in New York, and the judge, it's a New York State judge, on the first day, just threw the whole thing out. This is preposterous. This is freedom of speech and religion. This is the very basis of our constitutional republic. And then he went on to say the Hare Krishna movement has been practiced by millions, is a religion from India, has been practiced by millions and millions of people for thousands of years. And that such and such Robin, whatever their names were, want to practice the religion of their choice. You know, he just threw this thing out. And actually after that, these deprogramming people, they were like, that was it, they were out of business. There was one devotee, Hare Krishna, and he's from an Arab country, but he's New Yorker, American. And so his parents or his mother hired these deprogrammers, and, you know, he went along with the initial thing, and they were going to fly. They brought him to LaGuardia Airport. So he calls a devotee in the Brooklyn Temple. It was like 1990, you know. He said, you know, he had won their trust enough. Can I go to the bathroom, like in the airport, which was around the corner? And he went around the corner, and he just like ran as fast as he could to the airport exit. And somehow he had enough time to make a payphone call, and it was Mahaprabhu, the devotee who's still to this day in charge of putting on Rath Yatra. Said, come here, just get in the cab, we'll pay for the cab when you get here. So the cab, and the thugs and the henchmen, he went to the bathroom, I go to the base, he's not there, and they see his figure disappearing out the thing. He's jumping into a cab, and they can't catch him. So they get into a cab, hot on the chase, and like the devotee arrives, he's like 19, 20 years old, and get in the temple, and Mahaprabhu and a bunch of devotees standing outside, and they had called the police. And these guys, give us back that guy, and then the police come, and Mahaprabhu tells them the situation, you know, and said, where's the guy? So Kalia comes out, said, do you want to be with these people? No way don't want to be with these people. They said, see, you guys, if you don't get out of here right now, we're going to arrest all of you for like, you know, kidnapping. And that was the end of that, you know. Why are we talking about this? Is there a reason? I forgot. Told the whole story. What was the root of this?
Well, you're explaining how you should accept some of, like, if you don't know how Krishna is God or who is God, then why do you doubt that maybe someone else knows? And so you're giving a whole list of authorities how they all know that Krishna is
right.
God. And then here's the extreme opposite. There are these people who are the ultimate in doubting souls, and they're trying to deprogram people, and then the judge says, no, that's a violation of First Amendment rights. But then, yet after that, they still tried to deprogram Kali Krishna.
There was some.
I think it was like 91 or something.
Okay.
He asked you a question.
Here's another, like the challenger. What's it like to be you? So another kind of like flowery kind of Mayavadi hippie, I think this is Haight-Ashbury, 1967, said, Swami, are you happy? And Prabhupada responded, what's the point of my telling you? You know, would you believe me if I said, if I answered? I said, yeah, I'll believe you. And then Prabhupada, yes, I'm very happy. And then, again, the potency just like, you see an actual pure devotee, one he's like the lotus on the water. He's on the water, but he's not wet. He's in this material world, but he's not in this material world. He's in the spiritual world. He's appearing amongst us, simply not forced by karma or desire. He's simply here to enact a compassionate mission on behalf of the Supreme Lord, who wants us all not to suffer birth, death, disease, and old age, and all the other injustices of this material world. He wants us back home. That's why we say back home, back to Godhead. Not an artificial imposition. Was that Prabhupada would quote that book, Paradise Lost by Milton. Anything else? Oh, no problem.
I'll tell a quick story. So this one time I was going to the Harinam back in probably 2014 from the Bhakti Center. I was coming down 2nd Street, and I would distribute books on the way. And there's this guy, maybe in his 60s, and he was sitting on the stoop. And normally I wouldn't approach people if they were sitting down because I wouldn't want them to feel kind of trapped. but I figured he looks like a nice guy. And so I started talking to him, and he pretty much immediately stopped me and said, I know about you guys, and I actually met your teacher, Prabhupada.
Was that across the street from the Marble Cemetery between First
Yeah.
and Second? I know that guy. Okay, go ahead.
And he was
He's
telling
been
me
lived
about-
there for the last 60 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he was telling me how he was like an Eritrean for a while. He didn't eat food. He was just breathing,
Yeah,
staring at the
yeah.
sun and stuff.
Explains
But
it.
he was like a relatively well-to-do guy, and obviously living in what's now an expensive area. And so he started telling me about his experience with Prabhupada, and he said, I was outside of a Walmart, I guess that used to be around the corner here.
They didn't have Walmarts.
Maybe it
They
wasn't
still
Walmart,
don't.
some kind of department
Yeah,
store,
department
maybe.
store. Okay.
And as he's telling me, then he's recollecting, and he starts crying, and he kind of stops, and there's this almost moment of silence, and then he says that your teacher, he wasn't an ordinary person. He was here on a mission to spread love of God, and he became very emotional.
There's an example of one of the most remarkable disciples of Srila Prabhupada. His name was Jayananda. He was older than most. He was born 1936, and he was driving a cab in San Francisco. He had, was well trained. I think he went to Ohio State University. He was trained up as an engineer, but he just felt dissatisfaction. And he wasn't in San Francisco like other young people to find the summer of love or anything. He just happened to be there. And then he saw Prabhupada and just dedicated his entire everything. And one of the statements said, I wanted to give him everything because I knew that he wouldn't cheat me. And he surrendered his life savings. What is $5,000 in 1967 worth today? Just for, and he actually he's actually written here in the book that he gave his life savings. And then he, as an engineer, he was like an expert carpenter. He could repair cars, he could do electric work, plumbing, everything, And so he was like Mr. Rath Yatra. So he, was put on the first Rath Yatras. And in Los Angeles, they didn't make their first Rath Yatra to 1977. And by that time, he had contracted leukemia, blood cancer. And he was already wheelchair bound. But he directed the whole Rath Yatra, and he secured the permit. So 1978 comes. Now he was so popular. There's a saying of the six Goswamis, they were popular both with the gentle, with the saintly person, and with the ruffians, with the, the more kind of rough, criminal kind of people. Because they're not envious. They give all respect to others. Whatever they do, they're all pleasing to everyone. Thus, they are fully blessed by Lord Chaitanya and are engaged in missionary activities meant to deliver all living entities in this material universe. So he would like the vegetable and fruit market, he would get, everything donated for free, flowers. Everybody loved him. He'd be working under cars, fixing the temple cars, and just kind of some vagabond hippies would come by, and he would engage them, and let's go, we're going to take the trash to the dump, and the service is menial and not so, but because he was such an ecstatic person, everybody just loved to be with him. And some people, new people would say, well, if the garbage man is so ecstatic, everybody else must be really fired up. So anyway, to get the permit in Los Angeles is on Venice Beach, right? That's LA. Anyway, not so easy. So the city official was this really tough middle-aged lady, no nonsense, no extra emotion. Yes, next, thank you. Fill out the form. So Jayananda had passed away in May of 1977, some months before Prabhupada left the planet. And he said, this person has gone back to Godhead, and you should make a holiday on his disappearance day to commemorate him every year. Yeah, so many things. So the new devotee who was in charge of the legal, have to get the permit from the city, went in, and this lady, his name is Jayananda, but he would say, my name is Johnny Ananda. Yeah. And the lady, you know, just like looked up from her dead. Why would she care? You know, so getting a permit and whatever. Anything. Where's Johnny Ananda? He's such a wonderful man. And the devotee told him how he passed away. That woman, who arguably or externally was considered heartless, just broke down in tears. He was the nicest man I ever met in my life. That is disciplic succession. And Prabhupada would say, you become Paramahamsa too. Not that, oh, you're a Paramahamsa. We're meant to, right? He lives forever by his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. So we have a great responsibility, and ultimately, the more that we accept this heart and soul, and with intelligence, and one who reads Bhagavad Gita verily worships me by his intelligence, then when great things are given, great things are expected. Jai Ananda Prabhu ki Jai, Hare Krishna. Anything else? Mani Manjari, Hare Bol.
Thank you so much for the class. I really enjoyed it. I just felt like it was appropriate to bring this up, especially since the last thing you just said. In the introduction part 2, you said how we won't know the generations coming ahead, and we don't know the generations in the past. But through devotional service, the holy name, chanting, we're with them, and they're with us. And just like you just said about, I felt that way about, Srila Prabhupada and Jayanam. Like you just said.
And we should always keep in mind, we'll have a great transcendental reunion, ultimately. And no one, death is just a transfer. But for a self-realized person, the spiritual world is so glorious and so facilitatory. Eh? There's so much facility that rest assured the separation that we experience now, as I was saying, it's not like the separation with no answer, no information. And for an advanced devotee, the devotee, the Lord, will appear to you to give you instructions progressively throughout the rest of your life, as is required, as is necessary, both for essential knowledge and also for encouragement. Srila Prabhupada met his spiritual master at the age of 25 in 1922, and because of circumstance, family, and business responsibilities, for the next 14 years, till 1936, he only met with him maybe less than a dozen times. And as a married person, with family, wife, children, business, he wasn't able to be like in the inner circle with the sannyasis and the renounced brahmacharis. For that, he was even like some of his contemporaries, kind of, as is often the case, or invariably the case. And ultimately that became an advantage to him, because after their spiritual master departed, there was infighting, fighting over properties, fighting over who would be in the prestigious position. And and Prabhupada had nothing to do with that. But because he was instructed at the very first meeting, he was a follower of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, he told everyone in India, have nothing to do with anything British. British clothing, British education, etc., etc., British goods. Imagine, they grow the tea and rice in India, and the British take it and sell it back to the Indians at an exorbitant price. Just one of their atrocities of imperial British rule. Stealing the crown jewels in the British Museum and in whatever that palace is called, were stolen from deities of Krishna and Krishna's incarnations from India. There's hell to pay for such activities. Anyway, so there was they made Bengal, Calcutta, their headquarters. If you go to Calcutta today, you'll see still many Victorian age buildings there. And Prabhupada grew up in Calcutta. when he came to New York, and also like the Wild Summer of Love in Freewheel in San Francisco, the boys, "Whoa, Prabhupada, I hope you're not." Said, "I was an old Calcutta boy. I was never cheated." You travel around the world and you go to big cities, and to see the modes of material nature, and it's more or less the same thing. There might be a little different shtick to it here and there, but it's the same kind of manifestation. So was going to a very prestigious university. It's still existing. I just saw it. I paid a visit there. Scottish Churches College, which for an Indian to have a degree from a British school would guarantee you, good job. You can even go abroad. You'd be respected. So Gandhi is saying, so he had gone through the whole 4 years. He had taken the final. He had graduated. All he had to do was come for graduation and get the diploma. And Gandhi says, reject everything British. He did that. His father was friends with a very wealthy and well-to-do pharmacist named Dr. Bosch, and because of that family connection, he got him a good job. But imagine, you go to all the time and trouble and expense to go to college, and you graduate and you refuse the diploma because of your belief. That's big. Then, in that interim period, after renouncing the diploma, he's taken to meet Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, who tells him, and because everything that's on everyone's mind is get the British out of India. Godliness and religion, that our heritage, that has to wait until we get free from imperial rule. 200 years of it, since the middle 1700s. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta just debunked the whole thing. That Krishna consciousness is so important, so exclusively important and urgent, it cannot wait, and it has nothing to do with who rules or who doesn't rule. And you would see after they won independence from the British, the new rulers were saying that religion is what's holding our country back. We have to industrialize and make factory the new temple. And then the people of India thought that their original religious and spiritual culture was backward. The British did a very good job of doing that, and the Christian missionaries also. Luckily now, because of Prabhupada's hard work, first coming here and then going back to India, now Krishna consciousness is greatly... They're changing the names of their cities and provinces that were renamed by the British back to their original. Allahabad. And also there were Muslim conquerors coming into India from 1000 or 1100 AD. Allahabad, that's a Muslim name. Prayagraj. Delhi is going to be called Hastinapur, the capital of the Pandavas. And India is going to be changed to Bharat. What else? What other place? Calcutta, Bombay, Mumbai, the goddess Uma, Durga Devi, and many other places I can think of. So they're going back. They're embracing their original spiritual culture with great transcendental pride. I say the word pride, not in a bad way. So he said, "You're an intelligent young man. You should preach Lord Chaitanya's message all over the world in the English language." Well, actually, his spiritual master was about to depart the planet. He was having some illness, and at the same time he was discouraged because of the way his movement was turning out. Some of his leading disciples were more interested in fame and prestige than in the essence. He was discouraged. And he saw Srila Prabhupada is free from all of that and had the right motivation and understood that what he was destined to do. At the time he was born, an astrologer made this prediction. At the age of 70, he will cross the ocean, become a great exponent of religion, and open 108 temples. Wow. Said, I think this December, 2 weeks before his passing away, he solidified that instruction that he had originally given him upon their first meeting. I think that you should push our movement in the language of those not conversant with the present established members. That means everybody, everybody's language. This will do good for you and for those who will help you. This is 1936. He was just 40 years old. He had to go through World War II. He had to go through the last stab of the British, the partition of India into Pakistan, East Pakistan, which is now West Bengal. The amount of death that was caused by that is just atrocious. Then the industrialization of India. Then his own family wasn't cooperating with him, his wife and sons. They're more interested in materialistic comfort than in spiritual compassion. And old age, coming in his 60s, scarcity, poverty. But he's, through all those years, 30 good years before coming here, 29 years, said, I never felt alone. I always felt the presence of my spiritual master. So a devotee transcends loneliness. And he gives personal association to others. Prabhupada had a heart attack here. Here in New York City, Memorial Day weekend, 1967. They took him to this Beth Israel, which is a First Avenue by just north of 14th Street, doing all these tests on him. This and that. Anyway, long story short, Prabhupada decided, I'm going to go back to India. The sun, the heat. Like if you're ever sick somewhere in a foreign country, you go back to where you come from. I one time got typhoid fever in India, and I tried the best I could for a month. As soon as I came back, within 2 weeks, I was gained all my bodily weight back. I was perfectly fine. Anyway, so he went back to India, and the devotees, there's just only 2 temples, and like he's holding up everybody. If he goes back to India, maybe not to come back, what will happen? Prabhupada said, you are chanting here, I am chanting there, we're all packed up together. And that interim period of separation, which guarantees reunion, Prabhupada says in one place, in the Krishna book, 10th canto, feelings of separation, although painful, actually even more painful than mundane separation. You know, because you have some knowledge and just it's painful, you know, like people, okay, pass away, but life moves on, you know, you got to go on, you know, whatever, you know, it's like, okay, they call it funeral renunciation. I'm serious, I maybe think a little bit about what is life all about, maybe I should, you know, try to find out, is there something higher? And it lasts for a little bit, but then, hey, it's time to go to the bar, and where's my next date, and, you know, and whatever, you know. But the devotee is not going to do that. So that separation is painful, very painful, but it's transcendental pain, and there's a unique quality that it pacifies the heart. It imbues you with knowledge, ultimately, simultaneously one and different. So as a living entity, part and parcel of Krishna, the Supreme Consciousness, we should be very eager to discover the multi-nuances and variegatedness and facilities that we have as a spirit soul, which cannot really be understood very nicely, what to speak of fully, if we're just in mundane consciousness. Anything else? We've gone a long time. Maybe we should move along.
Okay, we can do a short kirtan.
Okay.
This is-
Yeah. You need harmonium here or?
Put it right there where it was.
It's all devotees here now.
8:16.
Yeah, as you like, Prabhu.
As
Yeah.
I like?
Yeah, but if you can, maybe you can close, when you close with Nishringati prayers, please.
Okay. Wasn't doing that before. Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
It's fine, it's fine.
Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
All together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Yato